Are you sick of always being pushed around? Of always coming second? Of always being left behind? Well, I have some advice for you. You need to be confident. If you're confident, anything is possible. You can soar to the highest places. You can be the best you can be. But most importantly, you can win any matchup and drive ahead. So go out there, go be confident, and win those matchups.
I got this.
Yo guys, what is going on? My name is Falbot, and today we're going to be going over the top 5 worst cars in Drive Ahead. Now, if you haven't seen the first part where we go over the top 10, then I highly recommend you go see that part first, because those are the bottom 5 cars, these are the top 5 cars. So, if you watch them both, you get the full top 10 ranking. I'll probably put it in a card up here. I haven't figured this out yet, but you know, just click on wherever the card appears. So in the number 5 spot, we have the Eggmobile. Now, the Eggmobile is one of the most frustrating cars to play. You just can't control it since half the time you're trying not to flip over or bounce away. Now, don't get me wrong, bouncing can be a good thing. I mean, look at the forklift truck. It thrives because it can bounce. But not in the Eggmobile's case. The bouncing makes it even harder to control. You're flipping over, killing yourself. It's really not good. Not to mention, the Eggmobile also has pretty much no protection from both ends and lacks any real speed. Eggmobile comes in at number 5, worst car in Drive Ahead. We have the spiky car. Now, you can definitely argue the spiky car could be a little bit lower on this ranking, but there is no arguing that this car is pretty terrible. I mean, just look at it. Even if you don't unlock it, you probably know that it's going to be pretty bad. I mean, sure, the car has pretty good speed, and against cars that are a little bit lower, it does do okay, but other than that, it is so awful. Any height disadvantage is an instant loss, and driving around tight places is a no-go. And don't forget not to flip around in the air, too. Moving your head around such a large radius is not a wise move. Pretty much what I'm saying is there's a lot you can't do with the spiky car, and that makes it pretty bad. Okay guys, we are in the very honorable, or should I say very dishonorable, top 3 now. And clocking in at the number 3 spot is the Skater Cow. Now, there is no denying that the Skater Cow is on this list. It is one of the most deserving cars of a buff right now. Today's meta is all about mobility and rushing the opponent. And the Skater Cow is really bad with both of those. It has no protection, so do not bank on playing defensive against rushers, and it also can't move quick and is hard to control, so do not bank on running away. So, what are you going to do? Well, there's only one thing we can do. We can complain to the Drive Ahead team until this car gets a buff. In the number 2 spot, we have the Snow Racer. When it comes to bad cars, the Snow Racer is the poster child, which in this case is not a good thing. The Snow Racer is hard to control, has no protection, no speed, and it's light. But I mean, the light doesn't really matter because even any contact with another car or even a random object is enough to kill you. All you can really do is hope to run around, and even if that works, you still need to hope your opponent doesn't manage to kill you. You have to hope that they kill themselves too. It is hard to have both no random objects near you and your opponent kill themselves both in one game, especially when you're using a car like the Snow Racer. Because the Snow Racer is not as bad as the number 1 worst car in Drive Ahead. And this car is, well, the worst car in all Drive Ahead. It is the bottom of the barrel, the laughingstock of the entire Drive Ahead community. It is the personal transporter. Well, what was Drive Ahead thinking when they released the personal transporter? I mean, just look at it. It only has 1 wheel, and that's really its biggest problem. Controlling this car is so hard. By the way, in case you're curious, the wheel on the personal transporter can't pop off, so that's something cool to know. Anyway, the biggest problem with this car is its inability to drive up walls. Because there's only 1 big wheel, the car won't actually flip around and compensate for the different angle when it drives up a wall. Instead, your head is going to smash into the wall, and, well, that's bad, because you die. This, in combination with its lack of offensive power, makes it useless in most cases, and puts it in the number 1 spot for worst Drive Ahead cars.